this is the third video in my little posture series here. Welcome to the third video in my posture series. So we've gone over head, neck, shoulder, upper body positioning, as well as some exercises and stretches you can do to help yourself neutralize that. But now we're gonna deal with, I think, the trickier part, and that's our lower body sitting mechanics, if you will. For those times you have to sit. I'm a big fan of standing and fidgeting. Spinning chairs are my jam. I just find this is spinning. And my posture is not perfect, but it's something that I bring constant awareness to and make adjustments to, and things do get better. So if you're having a lot of head, neck, and shoulder issues or low back problems that are getting in the way of you participating in an active lifestyle, that's why I'm doing this. For what is, let's remove as many barriers. Let's make exercise as accessible and pain-free as possible. And a lot of things I think can be traced back to sitting, especially for those of you who have to sit at a desk for hours a day for work. So a couple things we're gonna pay attention to, and then things you can look at or modify to improve your sitting experience if you have to keep sitting. So for one, let's start with how ideally it should be. So ideally you're gonna be upright on your sit bones, right? I cannot tell you I sit like this. But when you are balanced upright on your sit bones, your hips are in a neutral position, not slouched backwards and not leaning forwards with your back arched like that, then you're gonna get the work out of those deep core stabilizers, your transverse abdominals. You know, pelvic floor is gonna have a better time at working, and it's not gonna be so stressed and burdened as if you're like this. So what happens when we're like this, which is how most people sit, you slouch kind of like this, right? So you can kind of see through the armrest here. It's curve shape. So for one, core muscles are not really working here. There's nothing for them to do. They could squeeze tightly. Your upper abs are probably actually squeezing really tight, which is increasing pressure on your pelvic floor, which is increasing pressure against your linea alba, specifically if you're pregnant or newly postpartum. That is not what you want in terms of bringing your core back to normal functioning and strength. And they're just not really working. All of the burden of your upper body is resting on these low back muscles. So if you have low back pain, no wonder they're tired and tight and feel like you can't move. It's like they're doing this all day, like holding up like a whole like stack of books or something. That's really hard. And it's also then no wonder that your head, neck, and shoulders are going like this, because you're trying to balance because you are too far back. So the best way to find out is to go ahead and rock all the way forwards, and then rock as far back as you can, and then find the middle spot. And if you sit upright and you keep your shoulders in neutral and try to keep that head back where your ears are over your shoulders, you're gonna find a spot. Again, playing with this part down here, you're gonna find a spot where you feel the muscles in your deep core click on, where they are active, they are engaged. It might feel hard, it might feel like, whoa, I couldn't hold this for very long. But that's the position you want to be in. And so we'll talk about other ways to make that easier as we go, but that's the position you want lined up here, because then when that happens, it makes it possible for you to get the appropriate alignment between your ribs and your hips. If you're here, these are ribs flaring and your core's not working. Again, we're increasing pressure down there, and then we're shortening our low back. So shortening is almost just as bad as lengthening and holding, right? So when you're in that neutral alignment though, your diaphragm actually has room to function. A lot of people, I think, are walking around with weak diaphragms. We aren't able to fully take a deep breath and control our breathing because we are slouching. We are forced to sit like this, and you can't take a deep breath like this. So if you're working on breathing along with everything else, right? Breathing to me is just as important as drinking water, like how you breathe, right? I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole right now, but that is gonna be key. And that's also then gonna make it easier. It's really hard to sit upright on your sit bones and do this. Like, it's hard to stay like that. You notice right away. So again, this is all about bringing awareness. This is all about balancing your body, using muscles to do what they're designed to do so that you can go do more movement. Because sitting, I'm not saying, is what you should be doing. Ideally you don't. So a couple other mechanical things to look at is your feet position on the floor. So my chair right now is low enough so that my feet, if I sit in the front, can touch the floor. But that means there's a lot of gap back here, right? I'm not getting any support to make my hours in this chair, which I actually don't spend very much time in this chair, comfy. So what I've done is you can support your low back, you've probably seen this, with pillows. Or let's just say I want to actually use the backrest. Now my feet don't touch the floor, they're swinging, I don't know if you can tell. So what you would want to do then is put something under the floor to bring the floor up to your feet so that you can hold this alignment better. And you'll notice you could still slouch like, or push forward like that, or you could still slouch into this. But just anytime you catch yourself doing that, just sit up taller. Sit up taller, and that will help. Click it back on. It's not going to be an overnight switch, but this is the type of stuff you're working on being aware of, is that where are you on your sit bones, and then how do you, if you have to stay, not like frozen necessarily, but how do you pull yourself back to that alignment throughout the day? Find little cues, set reminders on your phone, or set your environment with your chair, the floor, your desk height even, to support that. I'm totally in favor of standing workstations, fidgeting, bouncing on balls, all the things. Although I have seen plenty of people sitting on the ball chairs, and you can still find a way to slouch on the ball chairs. I've still seen people do this. So just be mindful of where you want it to be and get it there. So a couple quick other desk stretches that you can do throughout the day to focus on this low back is to just rock back and forth on those sit bones, and also hike up one hip side to side. These can be good little back looseners. You could also draw circles. So we've gone forward, we've gone backwards, we've gone side to side, and you can draw circles to get that spinal movement, as well as then twisting. So make sure you're sitting up on your twist bones, and you're not trying to pull yourself for dear life, right? Just again, keeping that head, neck, and shoulders in line. Leaning is a good one, and then always reaching. Always a big fan of reaching up overhead. All right, that should help improve your desk situation. I can't wait to hear how you take these and improve your low back pain.